Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk. We are doing fantasy talk today. This we're going to give you all the last minute advice right before the Sunday games on who should you start, who should you sit, all the injury updates, everything that you guys want. So come ready with your questions. Whether it's just about hey, I don't feel confident about this guy. Should I start this guy on my bench? Or hey, what do you think about this game today? We're here to answer all your questions. So go ahead and hit up those comments and let us know. But Vincent, go ahead. I know you have all these notes ready and jam packed to give everybody the best information on who's going to be playing today and who's not going to be playing. So go ahead and start us off, man.
Oh yeah, man. Today, as of 9 o'clock in the morning, we were up early, doing all the research we needed just for you guys. Uh, if you've been living under a rock, you should not have Matthew Stafford anywhere in your lineup. He is now on IR as of this past weekend. And then just going on with other stuff, Kenny Galladay is sick. He's questionable. Darius Slayton is also questionable, but he's expected to play. And then Richie James on the same team for the Giants is questionable as well. So in my opinion, I think Saquon is a for sure start. He's going to get a heavy workload this week, especially with so many injuries. And look for Daniel Jones to be a scrambler. I know that they play against their rivals in the Commanders in the NFC East. So it's going to be a big matchup determining where the standings are for playoffs, as well as within that entire division. The division is all good. They all have winning records. I think the Commanders are basically a half a game behind the Giants. So if the Commanders win, they are solidified into the third spot as long as the Giants don't outwin them. So that's something that's good. But going on, KJ Hamler was put on IR. I think that was earlier this past week or last week. So that means Sutton and Judy, Judy's questionable and Sutton is questionable, but they should be both starting. Judy might be a little bit more far-fetched, but as of now, he looks like he is going to start the way the coaching staff has been talking and the way the analysts have been also talking about him. Another guy who Reed, I'm pretty sure, has been updated on by a lot of insiders that he has. Aaron Rodgers is a game time decision. Reed, what do you think about this right now? Think he's going to
He's
start?
expected to play.
Yeah.
He's expected to play. There's no way he's not going to play. I don't believe it for a second, in my opinion. The dude wants to play. The Packers wanted him to play. We're still technically in the playoffs. We can technically make the playoffs. Once we are eliminated from the playoffs, which will eventually happen, unfortunately, then we'll see if Aaron Rodgers starts sitting. So go ahead and pick up Jordan Love.
Yep. I was just about to say that. I was like, Jordan Love is a good streaming option for the rest of the season, especially if the Packers are not in playoff contention. Aaron Rodgers did come out with a tweet, or he was on, no, not a tweet. He was on
He was getting interviewed in the locker
interview.
room.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about that, Reed, I think you can word it a little bit better than I can.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, they were just asking him, hey, there's like, what do you think of the chances are that, in your opinion, on if, let's say, you get eliminated from the playoffs and the Packers approach you saying, hey, we want to start Jordan Love to see what we have with him and sit you because you're hurt. And he said, hey, I wouldn't be as actually thrilled about the idea, but I would have an open mind. He understands this is a business, and it'd be a business decision to see what Jordan Love can do and start him over Aaron Rodgers. So he's definitely not. I wouldn't say he's thrilled about the idea because he's a competitor. He always wants to be out there. He's not even thinking about them getting eliminated from the playoffs because that's the mindset you have to have if you want to be a starting quarterback in this league. But right, he said he would be open to the idea just because that's the type of leader he is, and yeah. So yeah, bad teammate. Bad teammates. Terrible
Hey,
guy.
man. At the beginning of the season, I would have said, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have ever responded like that. But now, the way the team has been playing and the way that he has been a part of those struggles, he knows that he is the leader on that team and he needs to show it. Not saying that he hasn't shown it in previous years, but this year he's definitely picking up that torch and he's raising that thing high. So props to Aaron Rodgers. I hope he plays the rest of the season because he deserves it. Just unlucky for the Packers this year. It's been a lot of struggles. But we got our first question here. It's AJ. He's busy today, but he says, is Josh Jacobs safe to start? In my opinion, I think he is, because last week he was questionable and he destroyed us. He destroyed the Seahawks. He had 200 plus rushing yards, plus 75 receiving yards. He was a monster last week. I don't think that he will put up those numbers against the Chargers this week, but he is a safe start. He should get you around the 15 to 20 points range. And as we saw last week, he has the possibility of going all the way up to 40. So, in my opinion, Jacobs is a start for sure. I know he is questionable out there, but
It's
as
a
of
game time decision, yeah.
as of some of the updates, I think that game time decision is like he's going to play. So just keep an update. I may be wrong. He's still got about 1.5 hours until that final update is out there. But he should be a start for me this week. Then we got the other Armando in here. Welcome, man. We love to see you here all the time. He says, pick 2, K. Williams, Zonovan Knight, Patterson, and Gibson. Well, as of now, I know that we had an update last night. So just keep looking at that update wire as it gets closer to 12 o'clock. Gibson is very, very questionable. He's almost doubtful, basically. So he might not play. I'm not too sure if there's an update on that, Reed.
From what Ian Rappaport tweeted 8 hours ago, is that he is expected to play. And the only way he doesn't play is something happens like right before pregame. So
Okay.
Gibson should be playing. But you know how that Commanders running back room goes. There's multiple running backs, so be careful with Gibson. But he should be able to get, I would say, minimum 10 points. Hopefully, math around that area.
I would hope so too. For sure, for me though, I know that Michael Carter is very doubtful. Robert Sala said that yesterday. So Zonovan Knight for me is one of the picks that I'm going to say for sure. With that Gibson news that was new to my ears right now, I guess my research was horrible. But
Okay.
I think it's between Gibson and Williams on the Rams. The Rams are going against the Seahawks, and we did see what the Seahawks gave up last week against Josh Jacobs. So I think Williams could possibly be that guy to do that as well. I know that there is some doubts there because you can't start anybody from the Rams, but I think he is a good start. But also Gibson is a safer start. So I think Zonovan Knight and Gibson, but if you're feeling risky and you think that you could beat the Doonies out of your opponent this week, go ahead and start Williams. I think he could be a big, big upside. What do you think here, Reed?
I would go with Knight and Gibson as well. I think those are your two safest options going into this week.
Cool. Next one we got is Frankie. Welcome, man. We love seeing you here too as well. So Frankie Martinez says, who should be in my starters? Mixon or Wilson or Tony Pollard? I think if we need just one, I would say Tony Pollard all the way. So far, he's been the most consistent guy out there. He gets the touches, even if Zeke is playing, and he gets the amount of points that you need him to get. I think Mixon is a super doubtful guy right now up for
Yes.
that concussion, so he should not be anywhere near your starting lineup. He is so doubtful that Ian Rappaport is saying it's a long shot.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Mixon should not be anywhere near your starting lineup. Jeff Wilson may possibly outshine Tony Pollard. He is going to be utilized this week against the 49ers, his old team. That was one of the matchups I really wanted to talk about. So I think Jeff Wilson could possibly make a big homecoming. I'm not too sure because he also has his mate Raheem Mostert, so he might take into his production too. So that's why I think Tony Pollard is the best option here. But what do you think here, Reed?
Yeah. Definitely Tony Pollard is a definite start. That shouldn't even be a question. Joe Mixon, obviously, he hasn't cleared the concussion protocol. The only way he plays is if he clears the concussion protocol like right before the game. And if he does, I would probably look into that. If you're the NFL, that sounds a little fishy. But Jeff Wilson, he's going against that 49ers defense, and he's sharing the field with Mostert. I don't really like him as a start this week, in my opinion. I think the Dolphins are going to move the ball through the air through Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, in my opinion. I don't like Jeff Wilson too much, so if you have another option, maybe try that out. But if you're looking for two starters out of those three, it's going to be Tony Pollard and Jeff Wilson, in my opinion.
Nice. So we have Michael Alexander back with us again. Welcome back, my friend. He says Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott. Now, I haven't been keeping up with Dak too much, so I'm gonna search up his past stats the past few weeks since he's been playing. I know he's been doing great. He plays the Colts this week. They're not the best against the pass. They're middle of the pack basically, but I mean, I think Dak has been doing good. I know Trevor Lawrence has been doing well as well. So I think here it's a toss-up. You know, the Jags go up against the Lions. Dak goes up against the Colts. I think that honestly, Trevor Lawrence might be a little bit higher for me here just because of his matchup. The Lions tend to give up a lot of points. ETN is going to start. That was another update that we had. He says that Peterson, the coach, he says that he is good to go for Sunday as of yesterday. So I think that team is wholesome. I think they're going to keep pounding the rock as well as passing the ball when they need to. So in my opinion, I go Trevor over Dak, but both of them are solid starts. What do you think here, Reed?
I would personally go Dak. Even though Trevor Lawrence is facing that Lions defense, I still like Dak Prescott more.
Nice. So yeah, just like we said, it's a toss-up. I got Trevor, Reed's got Dak. I think any of them are great starters. So we got Armando again here. He says, in case that Jacobs doesn't play, should I pick up Abdullah or White? If you really have the space on there and you have no one else who's reliable, I think Abdullah is the guy to pick up. Last week when he played against the Seahawks, he did have a touchdown as well, I believe. And he was playing pretty well. He's a pass-catching back, but he's also pretty good between the tackles as well as on those stretch runs. But I think Jacobs will play, but if he does not, as of that game time decision around 11:30, 11:40, I don't think Abdullah is a bad pickup, but definitely look for some other options there. I think without Jacobs, the Raiders could struggle a little bit on offense. So Abdullah's a good pickup, but I think someone else might be the better option here. But going on with injury updates until we have a few more questions in the chat. The next guy I want to talk about is Justin Fields. He is back and he is primed to start for the Bears against his team owners, basically, against Rodgers and the Packers. So this should be a good game, honestly. Packers are 4-8, sadly. The Bears are 3-9, just how we kind of expected them to be. I think this is a good matchup, and I think Justin Fields definitely changes the pace of game here. He's going to be running all over the Packers defense, as we saw. They do not have contain pretty set there, so that's going to be their main option to go to with Justin Fields at the helm. But everybody there is healthy. I mean, Montgomery is playing well as of fantasy purposes. I think Justin Fields adds to that. What do you think here, Reed? I want an insider from Packers talk.
As far as Justin Fields,
yeah,
Justin Fields is going to have a lot of rushing yards. That's one thing for certain. I really don't see us like changing up the game plan or being better than we were last week against Jalen Hurts. If you didn't know, we had 22 missed tackles in that game. 22 missed tackles, counted by Matt LaFleur. It was really right now. I think we have bad defensive coaching, and he's not adjusting to certain defenses and trying to put his players in the best position. And also, we're just not executing. It's both of those things happening at the same time. I don't think he has a lot of passing yards because he doesn't know how to pass. But he can run like hell, and that's one thing that you got to watch out for. And I don't think we're in game plan against it, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. I think last week against the Eagles, y'all were 2 yards shy away of being put on the record boards for most rushing yards in a game in the season.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was like 263 or 363. I don't remember, but it was a lot. But I think also Justin Fields could have a field day out there. He is going to play on his field. but Rodgers also owns that field, so it should be a very interesting game, probably high scoring in my opinion. Next, I want to talk about David Njoku. We don't talk about tight ends too much on this show, but David Njoku is out, so Harrison Bryant could be a stream since Deshaun Watson is coming back. He's going to be passing the ball a lot, in my opinion. Nick Chubb will be a huge factor as well as anybody who's going to be catching passes. So I would think maybe if you had David Njoku or someone else who's not producing points for you at the tight end position, try to put in Harrison Bryant. He might get a few touches here and there. Maybe my floor for him is about 4 or 5 points, and his ceiling I think should be around 8 to 10. So he's not going to be an extraordinary guy, but he's going to be a reliable guy. Especially with David Njoku out, he's been getting a lot of snaps this season. But moving on, Texans face the Browns. Texans are historically horrible against almost every team the past few years. It's just the way it is with that Texans organization. And as they lost Deshaun Watson, it's going to be kind of not so much a revenge game, but, Deshaun Watson is coming back. So Brandon Cooks is out for the Texans. That just diminishes the Texans' chance to upset the Browns, which I'm pretty sure half or more than half of the NFL wants. But Brandon Cooks is out, so keep that in mind. If you need to start someone and you are super, super desperate, Nico Collins has been good every time Brandon Cooks is out. I'm not saying he's extraordinary, but he's been decent because he's the number one option there whenever he's out. But moving on to the next game, Chargers versus Raiders. We talked about it. Oh, well, let's answer KJ first. KJ Frederick says, what are your guys' confidence level on Mike Williams if he comes back for fantasy playoffs? That's what I was just about to talk about. Chargers versus Raiders. Mike Williams is out. I think you start Josh Palmer if you can, if he's not picked up already, because he did have an extraordinary week 2 weeks ago. But my opinion on him for playoffs, he is not a playoff guy to get you the dub, especially with Keenan Allen back. I think Mike Williams kind of disappears after this injury. I don't even think he could possibly get back and return to form as the wide receiver 2. I think Josh Palmer has definitely overtaken him there. I think that Justin Herbert really likes Josh Palmer, and Mike Williams just dropped down to the wide receiver 3. Even though he just got that big contract this past free agency period, I just don't see Mike Williams making an impact for fantasy. But what do you think about this one, Reed?
The thing with the fantasy playoffs, I want consistency. Unless I'm super, super desperate and I need somebody that is unpredictable and can put up 20-some points. And that's what Mike Williams is. He is boomer bust when he was healthy, playing every single week at the beginning of the season. You either put up 3 points or you put 20 plus. If I'm trying to be consistent and I'm trying to get the dub, and I feel confident in my team, I'm not starting this guy if I have another viable option that can get me 13 plus points, because this guy is either going to get you 20 plus or get you 3. But if you're desperate, you don't got another, you don't have another good option. You look like you're going to get blown out. Mike Williams, if you're just trying to throw up the Hail Mary, he's a good start. But as far as somebody who's consistent and I feel confident in, because you're asking about confidence level, I don't like it very much.
Sounds about good, my friend. Yeah, so we'll move on to this next comment. We got Abraham Pena back. What's up, my guy? We always love having you on here as well. He says, I have Najee, Sanders, Pittman, Zonovan Knight, and Josh Jacobs. Holy shoot. He says, I have Josh Jacobs at my flex in case he doesn't play. He's like, I can swap Pittman in. For my other 2 running backs, who would you choose from Najee, Sanders, and Zonovan Knight? So we answered a similar question to this, not exactly, but Zonovan Knight for me is a solidified start, especially with the Jets going up against the Vikings, who are not the best run defense, but they are decent. I think Zonovan Knight could put up some numbers. He is a pass catching back as well as good as running in between the tackles. This one's another hard one for me here because Sanders can have a great game. He plays against the Titans as he is on the Eagles. I think this one's going to be a brawl. If the Eagles do pull out ahead, I think Sanders plays well. But last week when the Eagles played against the Packers, they were using a triple-headed running back formation type of thing. So they were using every running back on their roster basically, besides that fourth option who was probably on the practice squad. But Sanders was getting touches. The running back 2 was getting touches, and running back 3 was getting touches. So that's a little alarming here. That's why I think Najee is the start for me. I know that the Steelers are playing against. Let me go ahead and look at it here. They're playing against the Falcons. Okay, yeah, I think Najee is a start. Sorry about that. I was looking at my sheet over here, but I think Najee and Zonovan Knight are your solidified starts. But don't get me wrong, if Sanders does play that running back 1 role and they don't give any touches to RB2 or RB3 there, I think possibly Sanders could get a lot of points. But I think Najee and Zonovan Knight are definitely the solidified starters in my opinion. I think they have the best upside as well as the most consistent points. What do you think about this one, Reed?
I like starting Knight. If Josh Jacobs, oh, you're asking, yeah, the other two. I would do Najee in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah, he had that injury scared last week, but I still think he's the best person to play.
So as of James Robinson, he has been questionable to play too, I believe. But if he does play, I don't see him having a huge role. I think Zonovan Knight definitely overtakes him. But James Robinson might get in there a few plays. You know, he's a pass catching back as well after that trade from the Jags. But he could get somewhere around 6 to 8 points, in my opinion, unless he scores a touchdown, which he possibly could. I think he's a possible guy to have a higher ceiling, but he has a low floor, in my opinion.
Yep.
So Mondo says, play Lamar or Fields. Ooh. I think I'll let you do this one, Reed. I think you have a better insight.
So Fields, I think he can put up some good points. I would be shocked if the Packers defense shuts him down or anything like that, or even we're close to that, in my opinion. The Lamar plays as the Denver Broncos defense, which has been pretty good. They've been keeping it low scoring games. But right now they're also banged up. Right now they have a lot of injuries in a lot of different places. I think I'm going to go Fields. I think I'm going to go Justin Fields.
I think I might go the same. I have Lamar Jackson on one of my fantasies, and I like his production, but then I don't because of where I drafted him at. I thought he was going to have a better season overall. Not that his season has been bad, but I definitely think Fields has the better upside here, even though he's going against his rivals in the Packers. Go ahead, Reed. You had something to say?
The thing is with Lamar Jackson, he plays to his competition.
Yeah.
If his competition is putting up a lot of points, he puts up a lot of points. The Denver Broncos are not going to put up a lot of points. This is going to be a low-scoring game for Lamar Jackson. Maybe he gets a lot of rushing yards, just not a lot of touchdowns on the board. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a low-scoring game for Lamar Jackson. Well, Justin Fields has the potential to put up a lot of points.
Not bad. Yeah, so I think Fields is the better option here, but Lamar is the safe option. He will be getting good fantasy points, but yes. I'm not predicting him to get more than 22 points in fantasy. But we got another question about a quarterback situation. Abraham Pena says Dak or Kirk, and I just looked at Kirk's matchup. It's the Jets. He's going up against Sauce, and Jefferson is going to be lined up against Sauce Gardner probably for more than half of the game. Now, I know AJ is very, 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 very high on Sauce Gardner, and I am too. I think he's a top 10 cornerback for sure in the league. But I also think Justin Jefferson is kind of mad off of that game when he played against the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. I think that he has fire in his heart still, even after that game. He did do decently well against the Patriots this past game. I think I might go Dak Prescott here. I think he has the better upside. Christian Kirk just has too tough of a matchup. I think that the Vikings run the ball more than they are going to pass it. Don't get me wrong, Kirk will have the opportunities, but Justin Jefferson will be locked up half of the game. So that's going to decrease his points, in my opinion, unless the Vikings totally just bring out another level of offense. But in my opinion, I think Dak is the safer one in this situation. How about you, Reed?
I think he's a safer option. Kirk Cousins is going to get points. He's not going to just get like sub 10 or anything like that. But as far as who I think is going to play better, I think I'm going to say Dak. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I know Christian Kirk, when he played against the Cowboys and Justin Jefferson was locked up, Kirk only had 3.5 fantasy points. So that was alarming for me. That's why I think I'm going with Dak here. But the Vikings do not have the defensive line that the Cowboys do. So that's also playing into factors. So I agree with Reed. Kirk will put up points, but Dak will definitely have the better upside. Moving on in some of these other injuries, these are not big name injuries since we already talked about Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon. There's some stuff about Kadarius Toney that he is out. I think that could be a possible upside for Mr. Sky Moore. I think the Chiefs go against the Bengals. It's going to be a gunslinging game, especially if Joe Mixon is out, and that the way that they're using those running backs on both sides of the ball. P. Ryan is going to be good. The Chiefs, is it Pacheco? I think it's Pacheco. Or am I
Yes.
getting? Yeah, Pacheco. Sorry, I think I was getting him mixed up with another guy in my head. But Pacheco is also good. They are going to be just passing the ball, in my opinion. A few runs here and there just to keep the defense honest. But with the gunslinging ability of Patrick Mahomes as well as Joe Shiesty, he hasn't been Joe Shiesty of late, but he has been returning to that form. I think that this game is going to be a very, very high scoring game. I think the defenses will be toasted a lot, in my opinion, especially with Jamar Chase coming back and very, very, very highly, 99% sure that he is starting in that first snap on offense. But look for Sky Moore. Sky Moore, if he's possibly picked up in your league already, because he does have a few upsides here and there, but he will be the wide receiver 3. And we know that Patrick Mahomes spreads the ball to everybody, even if Kelsey is getting 4 touchdowns. So that's something to look at. Joe Mixon, we said that he's questionable, is a long shot. Zay Jones from the Jags. I know that me and AJ were talking about, if Zay Jones has a good game, Christian Kirk does not. Christian Kirk has a good game, Zay Jones does. So in my opinion, I think Christian Kirk is the guy to start for the Jags. Zay Jones is questionable. I don't think he plays a big factor this week against the Lions. But moving on, Deebo Samuels is questionable, but I expect him to play. It hasn't had any insight on if he's not going to play, so I think that's a high possibility that he will. So don't be afraid of that questionable tag on him. Another guy who is questionable and expected to play is Michael Gallup for the Cowboys. Keep that in mind. Michael Gallup could play a big factor, especially with CeeDee Lamb going up against a decent cornerback on the Commanders side. And the last guy that I have to talk about here is Romeo Doubs. He is questionable, Reed. What do you think about that tag? Does he play, and how good does he play with Christian Watson out there?
Let me double check right now if there's any injury update on him. We are getting close to the game. But from what I've heard, he looked good in practice. They like what they saw from him. And yeah, no, that's not an answer on that. But if he plays, I think he gets some touches, but he's not going to be the main cowbell for the Packers. So maybe unless he gets a touchdown off of one play, I don't think that there's a good chance that he'll put up good fantasy points. In my opinion, I don't think he's a start this week. But definitely grab him for the coming weeks. If you're just desperate at wide receiver. We know what his ceiling is right now. It's about 10 plus points. And in some games, he's going to get 4 or 5. So be careful. But Romeo Doubs, if you don't have another viable option on your bench for wide receiver, go ahead and pick him up. Right now, there's no absolute 100% that Romeo Doubs is playing. It's about 50-50 chance that he plays.
Nice. You got just those insiders there from our main man, Reed. But we got Brar here. Welcome back, Brar. We always love having you on here, even though your team is beyond stacked and you always have questions for us. He says, who to play at flex between Kamara, Evans, Keenan Allen, or Higgins. So again, he has one of the best
Options.
problems here.
Yeah.
He has Kamara, Evans, Keenan Allen, and Higgins. So I just want to go through all their matchups. Kamara and the Saints, they do
They
play
play the
against
Bucks.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
Yeah.
As well as Evans. Evans plays the Saints. Keenan Allen is going to play the Raiders, and Higgins is going to play the Chiefs. In my opinion, I think the guy that has the highest upside here is Higgins, especially if Jamar Chase is back. I think Jamar Chase gets a lot of yards, but I also think Higgins will be someone who's in there playing very well. Because when we know when Jamar Chase is back, it's always Higgins and Jamar Chase. Tyler Boyd is kind of irrelevant when all three are playing. He will get a few catches here and there, but I think Higgins has the highest upside. But Keenan Allen is a close second for me. I think Keenan Allen could be another guy who's going to take over this game against the Raiders and their honestly horrible passing defense. But Brar also says I have Chase. Okay, he has Chase to start both. I don't know about that. I know Reed is against kind of doing that, starting both. So just back to this question, I would say put Keenan Allen in then. I know it's kind of hard relying on two wide receivers in the same game on the same team. So I would go Keenan Allen, especially if you have Chase starting already. What do you think?
For me, I think I'm gonna go Kamara. I think he has a good bounce back game from where he played against the Niners last week. He's going against the Bucks Monday Night Football. They're going to lean heavily on Kamara to be able to move this offense. They put up 0 points this last week. There's no way they get something like that again. I think they're going to put up 20 plus points, and Kamara is going to be a huge part of that. So, in my opinion, Higgins, Jamar Chase is coming back. I think he's going to take some of the production away from him. Keenan Allen, throw him away. I don't like him as far as starting. Mike Evans, he hasn't been good at all this season, and I don't think he's going to put up a lot of points against the Saints defense. I think Kamara is the best option.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I think just Brar always has the best problems to have. Just look at the stats on who they've played and stuff like that, how they've been playing lately. Evans, for me, is totally irrelevant. I have him on one of my lineups. He has not been in the starting lineup for the past 5 weeks. He just hasn't been producing like he usually does. But we got Young Vision here. Ooh, I'm not too sure if this is his first time on the channel, but if it is, go ahead and follow everything down here, man. Everything is at NSP Football Talk. And go ahead and give us a sub if you are not subbed already. But his question is Lamar or Trevor Lawrence? The Jags play against the Lions, and the Ravens play against who again, Reed?
They play against the Broncos.
The Broncos. Okay, yeah. So what Reed said earlier is Lamar against the Broncos. He plays up against a horrible team, honestly. They're not going to put up any points, but that also means that Lamar Jackson is probably not going to put up many points because he plays up to his competition level. Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, going up against the Lions, I think he has the opportunity to put up great points. So for me, I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence here, but Lamar Jackson is not a guy to sleep on. He's definitely been pretty reliable, getting around that 17 to 21 point range every single week. So if you're more about consistency, I say Lamar, but if you want someone to get you the most points, I think that could possibly be Trevor Lawrence, especially with ETN healthy.
I agree with Vincent here. Lamar is the safer option, but Trevor Lawrence, I think, is going to put more points this week. But he also has that bust option where that he's going to do really badly, in my opinion. So definitely Trevor Lawrence, but be careful.
For sure, for sure. He also says Travis Etienne, P. Ryan, Garrett Wilson start to sit on a standard league. So not PPR. Ooh, I think the PPR just throws P. Ryan out, honestly, for me, because P. Ryan is more of a catching back, but he also is good between the tackles as of the last time that he played, which is last week. Garrett Wilson. This one's kind of hard. I think I might go with Travis Etienne here, especially since he's healthy. Garrett Wilson is very good, but I'm not too sure if he's going to get more receiving yards than Travis Etienne will with the receiving yards and the rushing yards. But Garrett Wilson could very likely be the higher scorer on your team right now. So I think, in my opinion, as of what I think is going to go down this week, I think it goes Travis Etienne, Garrett Wilson, very close second, and then P. Ryan. But what do you think about this one, Reed?
This is a tough one. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, this is a really tough one. All three of these guys are going to be great, in my opinion. This week, ETN, I think he's a absolute must start. I really like P. Ryan this week, though. Against that Chiefs defense, they let up a lot of points. I think this is going to be a high scoring game, in my opinion. There's no way this is going to be a low scoring game. I'm going to have to go P. Ryan, even though I think Garrett Wilson's going to put up about 15. I think P. Ryan puts up more.
Ooh, nice. Even with Jamar Chase back, though, you think P. Ryan will still do that?
I still think so, yes.
Ooh, okay. I mean, if Reed is very confident with that, I say Travis. He says P. Ryan. We're running back heavy here, even in standard leagues. But going on to the next question, we have Ye here. Welcome back, my man. He says Walker or Kirk. I'm pretty sure he's talking about Christian Kirk and Kenneth Walker there. Ooh, I mean, Seahawks go against the Rams. Right now, Aaron Donald is out, along with two other guys on the defensive side. So they are out of one of their top defensive guys. So in my opinion, I think Walker for sure, but don't sleep on Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk also has a good matchup against the Lions. And just as we said a little while ago, Zay Jones is out. Or not out, but questionable. So he is not 100% healthy. He could be limited there, but I think Christian Kirk has a good game, but I think Kenneth Walker III has a better one, especially last week. Kenneth Walker was not the best against the Raiders' run. So I think that Walker comes back and we utilize him a lot more. So Walker for me, but I might be biased. What do you think here, Reed?
I still like Walker. Yeah, Walker's a better option. Christian Kirk is good, but Walker definitely.
Cool. Now we got Brandon Creasy. I'm not too sure if this is your first time, my guy, but I see you're from Facebook. We do have our NSP Nation over there. But if you're not following us on YouTube, go find us on YouTube at NSP Football Talk. Give us a subscribe here, and we would very much appreciate that. But other than that, thank you for tuning in, my guy. So he says Pacheco or Jeff Wilson Jr. Ooh, so I think I'm gonna go Jeff Wilson Jr. here, in my opinion. I do, and I'm just like going off of this because I think that they're going to have a great game against the 49ers. I know that Kyle Shanahan will probably make this matchup a living hell for the Dolphins, but I think the Dolphins are just too stacked. I think Jeff Wilson goes off, and I think Pacheco will have a good turnout too, but against the Bengals, I don't think Pacheco is the main guy that they're going to use. I think it's going to be Kelsey. I think it's going to be Juju. I think it's going to be all those other guys but Pacheco. But Reed, I know you have the totally different option here, so give me an explanation.
I don't think I've ever disagreed with you more, Vincent. Jeff Wilson, in my opinion, against this Niners defense, there's not a lot of people I would start against this Niners defense, in my opinion. Do not start Jeff Wilson. Don't do it. Pacheco, yes, I agree with you, Vincent. He's not going to be the main person there. Travis Kelsey, obviously, he's Travis Kelsey. Juju, MVS, all these other guys, Sky Moore, whoever is on the offense, they're going to get touches. But at the end of the day, I think Jeff Wilson's going to put up 2 or 3 points at most.
Wow, 2 or 3 points?
Yes, 2 or 3 points. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, okay. I don't think that. I was thinking around the more like 7 to 11 type of points for Jeff
No,
Wilson
not
Jr.
even close to 11.
I think so.
I'll eat my words, but there's no way. And if AJ was here, he would agree with me.
I don't know, man. I think the 49ers defense is going to be spread out pretty thin. They got to cover Tyreek Hill. So they're going to have their safeties back all game, in my opinion. Corners are going to be following. They're going to try to take him out. I think that opens the window for Jeff Wilson Jr. Even though they have a strong defensive line, I think Jeff Wilson knows that defensive line more than anybody. Maybe his most most rivaled guy is Raheem Mostert, but he's also on the same team. They're gonna
and
be
and the defensive line wants to absolutely kill Jeff Wilson after what he said about the Niners this week. All right,
well, that just gives Jeff Wilson more juice, man. He knows that that's coming.
no,
He's gonna okay.
this
Reed,
defense is too good, Vincent. They're
Reed
too
says
good.
Pacheco. I say Jeff Wilson. We'll see who eats their words after this week. It's gonna be a tough game for sure, but we'll go with Braz's next question. Go ahead and take it away, Reed.
Do you all think CMC gets more involved in the offense of the 49ers? Absolutely, in my opinion. Elijah Moore is out. He's out for the season. It's all CMC. Yes, he's a little banged up. I think it was an ankle injury or something with his
Yeah,
leg.
that pesky.
Maybe it's his knee, I think. But absolutely, CMC is going to be very involved in this 49ers defense or offense. You'll probably see a little bit of Debo in the backfield also. He's also a little bit banged up. He is going to start, though. But CMC, he's going to be big, in my opinion. Definitely must start against this Dolphins defense. Do you agree, Vincent?
I would agree there, yeah.
Okay, all right. And then Breyer also says, "Oh, I forgot to tell y'all, I got Waddle who can start at flats. What y'all think, dude? Like, yes, like, yeah." Dude,
Honestly, yeah.
I like him. I like him better than all the other four guys: Kamara, Evans, Keenan Allen, Higgins. I think Waddle's yeah. I would start him over all of them.
He has the highest floor and the highest ceiling out of all those guys as well. So I think even though he is going against 49ers defense, they're not strong at the safety position besides Hufanga, who just comes down and hits, in my opinion. He can play a little bit of zone defense and man defense here or there, but not against Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is going to have a field day as well as Tyreek Hill. But yeah, I would go Waddle, and that's another just good thing to have. Go ahead, Reed.
All right, we got some breaking news from Ian Rappaport. So this is breaking news, but it also, like, we're not surprised about the news. Giants wide receiver Kenny Golladay, he is not going to be playing this week. He woke up not feeling good. So he started maybe like 5 games for the Giants and his like $40 million deal. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But he's not going to be playing. Jerry Jeudy is officially active for this game, and so is Jameson Williams, the first round pick for the Lions. He is officially active. He will be in a limited usage as far as the offense. But dude, this guy's supposedly one of the best wide receivers from the draft. That's Christian Watson, but this guy's supposedly the best guy. And he's going to put up an incredible. He just needs a chance, and he'll put up some points. So
yeah,
if you're feeling spicy, start him this week. As far as next week, he's probably a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Definitely keep your eyes out on him and see how he does. But that's all the breaking news I have. I'm going to check if there's anything else. But right now, there's nothing else. So Kenny Golladay not starting. So if you somehow had him on your team, he's not going to be playing. Other things, Zay Jones is active. Gibson is 100% active now. Najee Harris is 100% active now. Michael Carter is not going to be playing. We already talked about that. And then, we already knew about all the other ones. Yeah.
Nice. Wow, man. Jameson Williams. I have him stashed on 2 leagues in my IR spot. So I've been waiting.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make a move this week, Vince?
Not this week. I'm gonna see how he does, play it smart, because I don't want to just be hyped on this Heisman Trophy winner and then he comes in here and he's a dud this week, especially in that limited fashion. He's just going up against Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side, I know that Amon-Ra is going to be the X and Jameson Williams will probably be the Y when he does come in. So I just think Amon-Ra has more upside. I don't think Jameson Williams will be the guy this week. But super exciting that he's back. That's some big news for the league, especially for the Lions. But very awesome, very awesome. See, Abraham. Go ahead and read it, Reed.
Abraham Pena says, guys, so y'all think Knight over Sanders? That's a hard one for me. He's gonna get the start. He's gonna get points, in my opinion. But Sanders,
he's
Vincent, you take this one. I can't give accurate as far as this one.
I've had Sanders in one of my leagues the entire season. I like the guy, but sometimes I don't because he is so wishy-washy. I know this past week he did not get the points that I expected for him. He did get good points, don't get me wrong. But he just was sharing the ball with everybody there. And AJ Brown is like 100% active. You know, everybody else is 100% active. Traylon, or not Traylon, I'm talking about someone else now. I'm thinking of the matchup against the Titans. But I just think the Eagles won't be running the ball too much here. I think they're going to try to put this game away early. The Titans will keep up with Derrick Henry, and they're just not going to have much time to run the ball too much with Sanders. And Sanders is good. Don't get me wrong. He's averaging like 3 to 4 yards per carry, if I'm not wrong. But he just doesn't get any touchdowns. He has very little touchdowns on the year, and he's not the catching back that I thought he was. So Sanders is good, and I said earlier, I think he's going to get good points, but I think Zonovan Knight has the best upside here. He is the only guy starting. James Robinson might get in there a few times, but with Michael Carter out, I think Zonovan Knight has a game.
All right. I like that. I like that, Vince. Kilo PvP, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a while, and I'll say it again. This is the first time I saw you. I love your profile picture, man. Love your name. Hi guys. Start 2 out of Amari, Amon-Ra, or AJ Brown. PPR. Thank you. I right off the bat, I'm gonna say AJ Brown and Amon-Ra. Amari Cooper, he's got Deshaun Watson coming back this week, and we just don't know what he's gonna be with that. There's a chance he puts up a touchdown or something, but I just don't have a confidence level in that. AJ Brown, he's going against his former team, the Titans. I think he's going to get at least a touchdown and some yards. Amon-Ra, I think he has a good game against this Jaguars defense. I think I definitely just wouldn't start Amari in my opinion. What do you think, Vincent?
I think I'm going to have to agree with you here. I have Amari starting on my lineup, but I do not have Amon-Ra and AJ Brown. That's the only reason I have Amari starting on 2 leagues. But in my opinion, even though Jameson Williams is coming back, I think Amon-Ra has an extraordinary game against the Jags. I agree with you there, Reed. I think AJ Brown is a little bit tougher. I think he will play very well, but I'm not too sure if he's going to do better than Amari. So I think I might go Amari and Amon-Ra. But I think AJ Brown definitely has some vengeance. He's going to get some hard hits on some of his old teammates on the defensive side when he's running with the rock. But I think I might go Amari and Amon-Ra, but I don't think AJ Brown is a guy to sleep on either. So,
all right.
Good picks.
Sounds
Good dilemma.
Good. Cassius Stylist says pick 2: P. Ryan, Chris Godwin, or Christian Kirk.
Ooh, I'll go first because I think I want to hear your explanation after mine, Reed.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to go Chris Godwin and P. Ryan. I hope that you have the same one. I just don't believe in Christian Kirk, even though he has had games where he pops off. I know he is going against the Lions defense, but I just think Chris Godwin against the Saints and P. Ryan against the Kansas City Chiefs is a better option than Christian Kirk. But what do you think here?
I'm going to have to agree with you. I like Chris Godwin. I think he's a must start every single week. He's consistent. He gets you points. P. Ryan, I think he's going to have a good game. And I think you got to start him while he's going to play. Joe Minson's most likely should be back from the concussion protocol next week. And then you don't want to be starting P. Ryan. So I think Chris Godwin, P. Ryan, Christian Kirk, he's sharing the field with Zay Jones now. And that's kind of hurts him a little bit. So I say Chris Godwin, P. Ryan.
Yeah.
Abraham Pena says, I don't know what 3-man running back community to take a risk on. Yeah, those 3 running back communities are scary, man. It's tough. What about Ty Johnson in the Jets backfield? Yeah, they got what's his first name? Knight. They have James Robinson, who was great on the Jaguars, and they have Ty Johnson. I would think that Knight and James Robinson gets more of the touches, in my opinion. That's just my thought. What do you think, Vincent?
Ty Johnson was good last year. He did play a role earlier in this year too, when everybody was hurt for the Jets. Ty Johnson played, but I remember him more last year when he played. He played very good. Don't get me wrong, but the way that Zonovan Knight has been playing, the amount of yards he's been getting per touch, and the way that he plays in the pass game, I just think he has the most snaps played out of all three of those guys, and he's probably he has more snaps played than those guys in like the entire season in the past two games that he's played. So with that, I don't see Ty Johnson. I don't see James Robinson overtaking Zonovan Knight. He is going to be a guy to start. So Ty Johnson is good, but Abraham Pena, I think Zonovan Knight is the guy to go forward with as long as Michael Carter's not in the starting lineup.
I like it. I like it. And just want to remind everybody in the chat that we do answer all questions. So make sure you guys put them down. We will eventually get to you. We take care of you guys. We want to answer them every single question as fully as possible. So put down your questions. We will get to you guys. That is a promise. And also, if you are watching right now, you are not subscribed for whatever reason, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Right now, we are doing a giveaway. We're going to be doing the giveaway on Tuesday during our Fantasy Live. And we're going to be giving away a Xavier Howard. Am I correct? That's right. Xavier Howard signed jersey. So all you have to do is go watch our most recent short or our most recent TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok. Go follow us there. And go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube and reply done in the comments on one of those, that short or that TikTok. So go ahead and do that, and you can get automatically submitted into our giveaway that we will be doing. So make sure you guys do that. Brian says, I think this is your first time watching, man. So if you are not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you can get a free signed jersey potentially. So go ahead and do that. Olave versus Christian Watson versus Zay Jones for a flex PPR. I have AJ Brown and Lamb as wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. That's a good wide receiver 1s, wide receiver 2s, in my opinion. Olave, Christian Watson, Zay Jones. I'm a little bit nervous about Christian Watson if Romeo Doubs plays. I have not seen an injury designation for him yet, so I'm going to look at that to see if there's anything yet. He's a game time decision. If he plays, I think that hurts Christian Watson, even though I think he plays well. I think maybe Olave I'm going to have to go with. What do you think? Oh, Romeo Doubs is not playing, so Christian Watson. I'm going to go with Christian Watson. Lock it in. Lock it in. Christian Watson.
Dang. Okay. Well, for me, it's between Olave and Christian Watson. But hearing that Christian Watson news, I think I'm leaning a little bit with Reed here and playing Christian Watson, especially since the Bears' defense is not the greatest. Mm-hmm. And I was going to go with Olave because he has been doing pretty good besides this past game when they had a goose egg. But I don't think the Bucs defense is anything to compare to the 49ers. But yeah, I think I'm going to go Christian Watson, but Olave is a close second for me.
Christian Watson has been so hot recently. He has had 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games. That's crazy. And I don't know if he continues the trend as far as like production, but he's going to get some production for sure. So definitely Christian Watson is a must start in my opinion from those 3 at your flats. Kua PvP says, thank you guys. Good luck later. Hey, good luck to you, man. All the luck to all you guys in all your fantasy matchups. I hope you guys all score like 150 plus points. All right. Rory says, Najee or Bam Knight. Vincent, take it away.
This one is hard for me, my guy, but I'm very high on Zonovan or Bam Knight, whichever one you want to call him. Bam Knight, he is his name on the fantasy app, but his real name is Zonovan. They just call him that because of some college thing where they called him Bam. But Bam Knight's going to have a great game. He plays the Jags. They do have a decent – they don't play the Jags. I'm sorry. The 2 of the Jets play the Vikings.
Yes.
So he's going to have a good game. I think that he runs the ball and catches it pretty well. So I think he has a great upside. Now, Najee has been one of the most consistent running backs lately. He's been utilized the most out of probably any running back, in my opinion. Nobody else is taking any of the reps from him. So, in my opinion, I think I'm going to go Najee versus the Falcons. Now, the Steelers aren't the best. They're not the best person to rely on in fantasy. But I think Najee has a better upside here than Bam Knight. But what do you think here, Reed?
I think I don't know. I'm still wishy washy about Najee. He does well, then he doesn't do well, and then he gets injured and has to go out this past week. I want to lean towards Bam Knight, but I'm gonna have to go with my safer option, which is gonna be Najee. So I'm gonna go with Najee Harris, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Bryce says, "Does JT do good against the Dallas D?" In my opinion, yes, because they need him to do good. The Colts need to run through JT. I think they have a new vision and understanding that they have to get this guy the ball multiple times a game. So I think Jonathan Taylor does have a really good game against this Dallas defense. I'm not sure where they rank up as far as fantasy defenses against the run. So Vincent, you could look that up really quickly. I know you're good with all those stats. But Jonathan Taylor, I think he has a great game. That's Dallas defense. I would guess around 16 plus points. Vincent.
This one's gonna be a hard one for me because Dallas defense is good.
Okay, is it against the run?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull his stuff up here. I just know from recent times they are number 6 ranked against running backs, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's a safe start. So the past times that he's played against tough defenses, the last ranked defense that was number 6 was Tennessee. He got 15.5. But the other times he played the defense that was ranked number 6 or number 3, he got less than 6 points. And that's on 20 carries and 16 carries. So it's going to be a toss-up here for me. I think they do run through JT for sure. But he just historically does not do good against good defenses. So I think he is a flex option in my opinion. See if you can get someone else who's a little bit more consistent, who has a better matchup. But I'm not against starting him. I think he has a great upside, but historically against tough defenses, he does not play very well.
All right. Briar says they better give JT ball 35 times. Hey, that's what I feel about the Packers running backs. They better give him the ball a bunch of times. But yeah, if the Colts knew it was good for them, they would give him as many carries as they possibly can.
Yep.
Rory says the thing for me is Najee is coming off that injury. That's what I feel about it too, man. That it really really worries me. I don't like it, but he also should be get points. I don't know, Vincent. Should we pivot from our original decision? You think Najee still?
I'm not, bro. Honestly, I think he's just more consistent. Don't get me wrong, Zonovan Knight does have the opportunity to get a lot more points. So if you're looking for good amount of points, I think he's good to start. So I will say that I'm not sleeping on Zonovan Knight or anything like that, but I just think the matchup for Najee is going to be great. He is coming off that injury, so yes, but in the past 2 games, he's had 3 touchdowns. So I see him getting more touchdowns against the Falcons, and he's been very good with 4.5 and 3.5 yards per carry. And last week, he only got 10 carries. So this week, I see them bumping that back up to around the 20 that he gets. And when the last time he had 20 carries, he had 27 points on fantasy against the 12th ranked Bengals defense against running backs. Now he's going against Atlanta's 26th ranked defense. I think he just has a good upside. And if they give him the rock, he's going to show it. But if they don't, Zonovan Knight is probably going to outshine him.
All right, we're going to take a brief break from the comments because we have breaking news, and this is big breaking news. Josh Jacobs is officially starting today against the Chargers. So if you have him on your league, he is an absolute must start. No longer you have to worry about he may not potentially play. Make sure you start him this week. He's an absolute must start. So go ahead and get him on your lineup. Blurpy, welcome back, man. We love having you here. He says his starters is Hurts, D. Cook, Henry, Amon-Ra, Evans, Andrews, Flex, Kamara, Flex 2, ETN, bench, D-Hop because he has a bye, Brady, Kyron, Zonovan, Warren, Judy. Should I change anything? First thing I would like to change is Evans out of that wide receiver 2 spots. I'm trying to think if you have a better option in that bench. Obviously, you would have D Hop there if he wasn't on the bye, so that's why you have Evans in right now.
I would even argue maybe even Jared Judy, man, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Evans, he's a great wide receiver, don't get me wrong, but Chris Godwin is the number one guy there, even though he's in the second wide receiver position for their depth chart. I just think that Jared Judy coming back and being healthy finally, he could outshine Sutton. And I think Russell Wilson really likes Jared Judy because he reminds him of a Tyler Lockett. He's quick. He gets open on routes that he's not open in. He just improvises, and I think Russell Wilson likes Jared Judy. So I could argue that I think Jared Judy gets more points than Mike Evans. I think that's your switch there if you really, really need it. But your team is pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Your team is very good. That's the only switch up I would make is Mike Evans. Drew Johnson, Rachaad White, Swift, or B Rob. Full PPR, pick 2. I would say Rachaad White and Swift. I don't like B Rob this week. He's in that 3 running back committee. It helps him that Michael Carter is out this week, so he gets more touches because of that. But still, I don't think he's going to get a lot unless he gets a touchdown on like a 1-yard run. I don't think he gets that much points, in my opinion. Vincent?
Honestly, man, I think I'm going to go Rachaad White and B Rob here. I don't like Swift or B Rob as an option, but I don't like the way they're utilizing DeAndre Swift. He did get a touchdown last week, I believe.
Yes.
Which was good for his confidence level and stuff like that. But I just don't know, man. I think Williams is the guy there for the Lions.
For sure.
But for sure, Rachaad White. Rachaad White is a definite starter, in my opinion. He's going to be a definite starter for the rest of the season, even if Leonard Fournette comes back. But I don't know, man. I just don't agree with Swift. I think I might go B-Rob here.
Okay.
Rachaad and B-Rob. But Rachaad for sure.
Yeah, Rachaad White is a bad man. Blurpy again. Should I drop Brady or someone else for Madison? Like out of everyone on my bench, who should I drop? Let's go back to your bench right here. You have D Hop. Definitely do not drop. Brady, maybe. Kyron Zonathan, Warren, Judy. You could potentially drop Brady.
Drop Warren and Brady, my guy.
Yeah, Warren, I was thinking him, and then Brady also option. You have Hurts. He doesn't have another bye week, so he's good the rest of the season. Yeah.
Honestly, in my opinion, I love your starting lineup. I love some of your backups like Kyron Williams and Jared Judy. Zonovan Knight for sure is a great pickup. Glad that you were able to get him. But in my opinion, I had Warren stashed on my fantasy for about 5 weeks, and he was just taking up a spot. Never saw the starting lineup, never even got a second thought on it either. But Brady, I mean, you have Hurts. I don't think Brady will outshine Hurts ever, in my opinion, the rest of the season. So Hurts, in my opinion, is the greatest guy you could have at the quarterback position besides Justin Fields, if Justin Fields gets back to his former self. But in my opinion, yeah, Brady and Warren, you can drop. Pick up some of those guys that are going to help you make hard decisions going into the playoffs. You want guys that are going to make you think who's going to get more points, But definitely get some guys that are more consistent and get a lot of more points than those guys.
All right. I like it. Rory, again, I feel like Najee might get limited touches because of the injury. I agree with you, man. That might be a thing. We're going to stick to our guns. We're going to say Najee. But if you really just feel uneasy with it, go with your heart. Go with what your gut feeling says and change it. But we say stick with Najee. Vincent, what do you think?
Yeah, man. So as of 2 days ago, Najee said when he had that limited practice, he said that he has no injury. He has no injury going into this game. He says the first time getting out there, he says it felt really good to have nothing bothering him. So Najee is healthy. He did have that oblique injury just this past game, which was scary because obliques can bother you for a long time. But I think it was just a tweak and it was tender during the game. So I think Najee comes back. He gets the touches he needs, and he's going to put up some decent points unless the Falcons totally come together and become one of the best defenses against running backs. But I think Najee has a good upside. So I'm sticking to my guns for sure.
All right, Peter Jimenez, welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you commenting. Pacheco, Patterson, Sanders, and White. Pick 2 non PPR. I will say Pacheco and White.
Yeah, I think so too, honestly. They just have the best upside as of yards per carry. Patterson, he has the possibility of being able to get a touchdown, but it's just not very likely. Sanders has the opportunity to outshine maybe Pacheco as of yards, maybe some catches in there, even though it's non PPR, he does get extra yards from those catches. But I think Pacheco and White are the safer bets here. I just have a feeling. I don't think Sanders or Patterson will outshine those guys.
All right. Trey says, "Morning, gents. Good morning to you, sir. Full PPR. Start to ETN, Jeff Wilson, Rashad White, Lenny, or Devontae Smith. Thanks and good luck this weekend. Good luck to you, sir. I'm gonna say ETN and Rashad White. I've been all day. I've been saying I don't like Jeff Wilson. Vincent has been high on him, so he's gonna say something different. And then ETN's a must start. Rashad White is must start in my opinion.
Yeah, I am pretty high on Jeff Wilson, but not that high after seeing the guys that you have. I think ETN and Devontae Smith might be the guys for you. The Eagles do go up against the Titans. They aren't the best against the pass. I think Devontae Smith and AJ Brown could take advantage of that for sure. And with AJ Brown healthy, I think that helps. It's his revenge game. You know, he's been healthy, but it's his revenge game. I think Devontae Smith also has some little dips here and there where he might get a touchdown. He's going to get a lot of yards. So, in my opinion, I'm going ETN, Devontae Smith, but Rashad White is definitely tasty for that flex position, in my opinion.
All right. Trey also asks, Tua or Dak? In my opinion, Tua's going against that Niner defense. I think they're going to stop up the run, but they're going to be able to move some stuff in the air. They have great people in their backfield, but they also have some holes because they have so many injuries in the backfield. I think that's how they move the ball, and I don't think they have anybody that has the speed to keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So I think Tua is a good start. Dak, it may be your more safer pick, but I think Tua is the person I would start here. Vincent?
I think I'm going to go Dak.
Okay.
I like Tua. I do. I've talked about him.
Tua guy out there.
I've talked about him for a long time, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Tyreek Hill will get his for sure, but Tyreek Hill hasn't been the guy to get touchdowns lately. I do think if they get into the red zone, they are going to use their running backs, in my opinion. I don't think Tua scores a lot of points on touchdowns. It's going to be all yards. And historically, him playing against tough defenses, his highest against anybody in the top 10 is 15.9. So I think Dak is the better start here, but Tua definitely has a great upside with the stars that he has and the way that the coaches are going to be making up some crazy random plays because they're going to try to show up one another, whether it's Mike McDaniel showing up Kyle Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan showing out against Mike McDaniel. So this one's going to be an interesting game. It's hard to tell who's going to be the guy to go with, but I think I'm going to go safe pick Dak.
I like it. All right, Blurpy with another question. Appreciate you always commenting, keeping the live stream going, man. We appreciate that. Blurpy, I was gonna pick up Madison and Chiefs defense for the playoffs, but I want to stash him now. This is in him saying, "Hey, should I drop Brady or somebody else for Madison?" So I think picking up a Madison player, if he's on the waiver wire, that's a good pickup in my opinion. If Dalvin Cook goes down, he's the main back. He's going to be the workhorse. So you definitely want to pick him up if he's available. Chiefs defense, I don't know what their playoff schedule is. Vincent is the playoff guy as far as stats, so he can give more about that. Yeah, what do you think, Vincent? I think Madison for sure.
Yeah, man. I have the same exact thought process as you. Sorry, my camera's a little weird right now.
You're
But
all good.
I have the Chiefs defense on two fantasies out of my five, and I've had them stashed for the past 2 weeks because in week 14 I have a bye week with one of my defenses. Can't remember who it was. So next week the defense that is going to be in my starting lineup in those 2 weeks is the Chiefs, and they do have a good matchup against. Let me go ahead and pull them up here. I forget who they're playing in week 15 through 17 and stuff like that. But oh yes, I know exactly why now. They play this week the Bengals, which is their toughest matchup for basically the rest of the season besides week 18. But then they play against Denver, who's ranked 27th. They play against the Houston Texans, who are ranked 30th. After that, they play the Seahawks. That one might be a little bit, I'm biased with that one. So I think the Seahawks put up a good game against the Chiefs. But then they have Denver again, who's ranked 27th again. But in the last week, they play the Las Vegas Raiders, ranked 7th. But as we've seen, they do well against the Raiders. I mean, the last time that they played them, they allowed, where are they? Oh, actually, they did. Yeah, they only got 1 point. So, in my opinion, that last week is kind of hard to have the Chiefs in there. But for the next 4 weeks, they are a solidified start, especially in the playoffs. They could get you an extraordinary amount of points, or they could just be middle of the pack. So, it's a good thing to try it, but I wouldn't stash them to have them in every single week. They do have good matchups, but they haven't been the best at putting up double-digit points for a defense. So maybe another option, but Chiefs defense is definitely safe for sure.
All right. Trey says, I appreciate it, fellas. Hey, we appreciate you, man. Tuning in, we appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Randy Miller, welcome back to the stream, man. Full PPR pick 3: Swift, Dylan, Pollard, or P Ryan. I think okay, we're picking 3 here, so we're only sitting 1. I think Pollard is 100%. I think P Ryan is next, and then we're in between Swift and Dylan. I think Vincent will agree with me here, right?
I agree with you here fully.
Okay.
Whatever you pick, I'm 100%. Go ahead.
The Packers go against the Bears, so AJ Dillon could have a good game, and the Lions go against the Jaguars. So it just depends how the Packers and the Lions both utilize their running back too. I'm gonna go AJ Dillon.
Yeah, there you go, baby. That's exactly what my thoughts were. It's Pollard, P. Ryan, then Dylan. Swift, don't get me wrong, he's gonna get some touches, he's gonna get snaps in there, but I think Dylan has the better upside. They utilize him a lot more than the Lions are utilizing Swift. And with Jameson Williams coming back too, I think that Swift kind of becomes irrelevant behind the other Williams at running back. So Jamal. But yeah, I think that's the correct one. Randy Miller, glad to have you back here, my guy. But yeah, we're going to go Pollard, P. Ryan, then Dylan.
All right, Brar says Vincent got the top tier stats. I like it. Yeah, AJ and Vincent do all the hard work as far as the stats for you guys. So they thank these guys for all the hard-earned fantasy advice that they give you guys. I'm more of a color guy. I'm watching the Twitter right now to see if any breaking news and all that type of stuff for you guys. So yeah, man. These guys put in all the hard work so you guys can succeed, and I'm here just as a color guy, just to help you guys out. All right.
Let's see. You got Randy Miller here. Thanks, you guys. Happy Sunday. Good luck with your matchups. And yeah, and I think we're gonna end the stream here. The comments have been slow with some of the fantasy stuff, but if you have your last second fantasy question, go ahead and add it in there as we're ending this show. But later on today, we will be doing a live.
Yes.
We're going to be going live to stream a game. So it's going to be Sunday Night Football. It will be the Colts versus Cowboys. So you Colts fans, you Cowboys fans, go ahead and tune in. And if you're just a football fan, you want to see some of our perspective while we watch the game, go ahead and get on here. We're going to have cool stats going. We're going to have all the fantasy stuff on the bottom there on the ticker. We're going to be talking just our insight on what happens. So Blurpy says, where's Mike Florio? Yeah, man, I watch Mike Florio every time on fantasy when he puts out those little videos. I think it's fun. But yeah, that's our breaking news right now. We're going to be going live tonight and that it's going to be fun. Just join us, add in comments. We want to see how you guys watch football. We want to see how you guys are reacting to some of the plays. So make sure to tune in. But other than that, guys, we thank you all for being on the live stream. Just tune in with us. And I mean, as AJ always says, keep on grinding, my guys.